hey, what's up? So if you were given 400,000 pounds of strawberry sauce that was also, like, good for the pasta, and also at the same time it was like a lip numbing agent, so at the same time it made your lips look perky, so you get both, you get like your perked lips, but also you can put it on your pasta and such. Yeah! Welcome to the news! This is Dinky Tech. This is the news. How you doing? It's the day. News. I mean, how you doing? Oh yeah! Hey, what's good? Yeah, so yeah, if you're transposing, this is what I'm talking about. If you're to try to transpose 400,000 pounds of that strawberry sauce into the market, it's a little bit of a process. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, why? Because, I don't know, basically there's just like concepts, mindsets, and then transposing things. It's a little bit different than trading. Trading is like, okay, you have a value, maybe you have a broker, you can go in and you can just have to trade it. Blah, blah, blah. But transposing is kind of like, you have a value, you have it there, you have to package it, you have to put it in places, and then you have to try to sell that stuff, right? Somehow get it into the market. Somehow affiliate it. Somehow get a friend to a friend to a friend to get the things to align so that the places can happen, so that it can connect from one side to the other. That's like a transposition. In essence, that's what I call it at least. Transposing is getting energy from one side to the other, in essence, and it's not always that easy. So, just sort of a hypothetical example of what Dinky Tech intends to do in terms of becoming a brokerage short and long term is like trying to transpose the value of video making and then businesses for sale by like in essence just trying to connect with like the essence of on the front end trying to connect with businesses for sale, and so that on the back end we want the businesses that are for sale to connect with us as video makers, because like in essence, and we want to try to scale it up so there's like film agents, so we can like make like our own kind of real estate brokerage in the end, like ultimately, because it's like you have agents for real estate brokerages, but this is kind of like our niche way to sell real estate in essence. So it's like on the front end we try to connect with businesses that are for sale, right? Businesses for sale, and then on the back end, I mean the middle end is we get so the businesses to make their own videos, right? So like as a commercial in essence, because ultimately I'm a marketer, but in the sense that we want to sell things that have a high price, we're trying to sell real estate. Okay, so we're trying to sell real estate, but we want to try to in essence find businesses that are for sale that have, because I like businesses anyways, that's like kind of the draw anyways, so we try to have businesses that have interesting stories, also with philanthropic backends and such, and then we want to try to find them, interview them a little bit, and then at the same time see if they'll agree to make their own videos. If they agree to make their own videos, that means our proprietary interest and involvement in the process, in other words, can hopefully necessitate a 20% commission when they share the video that hopefully is a commercial, in essence, a commercial to their own audience. Their audience has an audience. I mean, their business has an audience is what I meant to say. And that's part of the process we're targeting people to begin with, is that they have an audience to begin with. And so if we get in there and they have an audience, in essence, we want them to pass their stuff onto the audience, and then so we get hopefully like maybe 20% commission. Okay, and then from there we want to get the 20% commission, and then if we get that from the sales from the initial audience, from them filming their own video, because we're directing it and having the pieces and the parts and the puzzle to the pieces where we edit the video from afar, from a distance, while they film it on the front end and such, but we sort of direct it in the meantime from the back end, in essence. So we make the video, we get the video, we have the commercial in essence done, and that is first sent to their audience, right? So then in the second place, hopefully we get commission from that because they have an existing audience. Hopefully they like the IP, hopefully they make some sales, right? Hopefully we get some sales commission, and then on the back end, this is like transposing at the same time with no money. I guess, I don't know, it's both. It's like pre-selling and transposing at the same time. That's why I guess I'm talking about it. I don't know, it's all fun and games and whatever in this instance, because it's the news, and that's the purpose of this media. Anyway, so we're going to try to make the sales, and then at the same time we get to 20%, and then on the back end of that, we actually use our media buying powers, so that in essence, they're not putting up anything in between, and what they're doing is, in the back end, we want them to just, in essence, on the back end of the call, the first call that we have to get them to agree to do this to begin with, is that they just let us sell their real estate, right? So the goal to get to that goal is to try to transpose that, maybe reality or whatever, that outcome, I suppose you could say, is by this little funnel or this little story or whatever, things in line to happen. So in essence, we're right. So we get the first things, we make the 20% commission, and then we talk about in the funnel or in the package process to get them to allow us to buy media, so that on the back end of hopefully the process of the commission that we make to begin with, we're able to start to buy media with the commission that we make. And then we're going to use our own money because we made a commission through the first thing, through their audience and such, and some of their work to be able to make the video, even though we directed it and put the package together in essence for them, put the ideas and things together based on the nature of their business and such, that then we got the 20% commission. We're going to buy media so that we actually are able to then use our media buying power, so then scale that commercial to be able to make sales for the business, so that the business actually grows in of itself. We're making commission in the process of the growth process in essence. Then on the back end of that, hopefully the business grows because the business wanted to be sold anyways. So in the happen chance stance of the nature of the business to begin with, the business sells, right, on the backside, and then at the same time, and the merchandise, the stock, the nature of the business grows because the stock is sold more so. We're trying to sell more of their stock by helping them make the commercial, by making the story. We're making a commercial with them in essence to sell their capital stock, whatever that is, whatever their main product is, whatever their core products are, so they sell more of them, therefore their business grows. And then on the back end of that, we're trying to actually sell the business as a whole. So the business itself sells with the same commercial on the back end as well, and we're using the real estate means to be able to make that sale. In essence, once it's matured, hopefully the business has grown a little bit, we've added some equity, we've made some equity in the process of doing that, and hopefully from the growth process we can gain some equity as well. And then on the back end of that, we can make the sale through the real estate realm to be able to actually sell the thing in the meantime and such. And hopefully that can be the roundabout process to be able to gain that process to make it go forward in essence. And that's the fun in the games of talking about things, to transpose something on paper. And that's a sort of a fun little example of how to do that. I hope it will work out. We'll see how it all goes. But at the same time, we hope to try to maybe even add applications into the mix, because application processes, I've looked at, they have some things on the block that are able to make applications, to be able to test audiences like on the front end, and also get their media to be a little bit more packaged. So it's also another asset to add to the package if possible, and more reasons for them to want to sell through us, to be able to sell the real estate. And then on the back end of selling the real estate, hopefully I'm as a business broker in quotes, being partnered and co-broking with the real estate broker, in essence, not having a real estate license as of now myself in the meantime, so that's sort of the game plan on the back end. In the meantime is partnering as a co-broker with the real estate agent and a broker as a business broker, in essence, to try to co-broke, if that even can work out and such, and have a family, some having some internal connects to the real estate realm as well, to hopefully try to facilitate the deal. So that's the transpose energy. That's the sort of random transpose energy, to try to conceptually, theoretically, hypothetically get something to transpose through. I'm even talking about it because it's like this, just talking about it is making it something that is kind of like, oh, okay, it's potential for that to conceptually get through. Yeah, I guess I'm really not singing enough. I'm just kind of spitting out words, and it's kind of annoying because I started singing a little bit in the very beginning of trying to do these things, but I'll try to get back to that. I'll try to work on those. I'll try to get back to that singing foundation. It's really not sounding like punk singing if I just keep it all the same voice all the time. Anyways, moving to the next item is that, this is like business music, so realistically, I'm trying to be like a DJ. It's like business music is different than regular music. It's like business music has to do with mostly business and singing and such things. So this is punk music, yeah, but on the back end, we actually want to make actual music too. But this is the foundation, the beginning of the podcast, and the things like this that are just sort of starting to try to blossom in the meantime. And this all is just trying to be like momentum. So hopefully these things can improve as time goes on. I'm like a punk music DJ. This is business music, so my singing is like punk music. I'm a DJ, punk music, DJ, just music, using my voice though as of right now, because this is business music, and this is what DJ making, music sound making in the business music realm sounds like. Because right now I have no background music because I can't do it, because you can't hear what I'm saying otherwise. And another aspect concept from today is unpacking energies. So we're trying to do that by unpacking energies by selling to employees. What does that mean? It means the businesses have different components to it. So what does that mean? How to try to transpose energies? This is relatable to the first thing I was just talking about in terms of just a basic company intro game plan. One of the largest elements and the focus is for DINKY Tech as a brokerage, as a games in exchange for game studios to try to grow. Because it's all about transposing the energy, trying to get to the other side and try to fulfill the goals. In essence, so using the same mindset, in essence, to try to grow the same framework, but in a greater, grander, more macro sense, to grow the same company, but on the front end, the back end of doing some of these front end things that I was just talking about is to try the grander macro company. In essence, we want to try to transpose the energy through taking different parts of the business and actually trying to sell it to employees, but not sell it to them, but pre-selling to employees the nature of the opportunities, in essence, similar to what I was just talking about on the front end, using back end value. In essence, so you've got, value and you got money, in essence, right? So sometimes you can just, instead of using money, you can use value. And that's what pre-selling is all about. And that's in essence what the first example was an example of to begin with as well, is using value and back-end value in terms of back-end growth, back-end money where you see back-end value growing in the back end, and so you don't have to put money up in the upfront because you know everybody's sharing in the back end and there's enough back end to be able to share in essence. And that in essence means also that there's a greater business that this is a part of, which is called Change for Game Studios, and in essence trying to do that, there's different parts to it, different pieces to try to, in the same way, add different pieces together to get to the similar result, which is the greater global gaming games, and everyone to be able to play together. And there's various differing parts for that, and for people to be able to break that down is to be able to try to then delegate it to differing people as time goes on, and thereby, in essence, selling it to employees, because it's kind of like, you are selling it to them because you have to give them commission and you're selling it to them on the back end. So it's kind of like a sale. It's a mutual agreement. It's like you're hiring them, but you're also selling it to them. So that's what I mean. It's like you're selling employees because we're unpacking energy. That's what this whole thing of spiritual finance is all about, is unpacking energy, using energy to begin with, unpacking it, decomposing it to be able to transpose it. In essence, being able to use pre-sales in essence, to be able to try to transpose energies and be able to go through tunnels and pipelines, wavelengths serve and channels, to be able to use frequencies and energies from around the world to be able to connect with people in private markets. In essence, not the public markets, because you always have to use money to get money back in the public markets, in essence, but in the private markets, there's all the different various aspects and elements and tunnels and pipelines and all kinds of different interesting quirks and quirums and corkies, the things to be able to use as tools to be able to, as time goes on, to try to add up to a greater value and make a bush pot of different interesting ingredients. In essence, sometimes you don't always have the ingredients, but you got to use what's in the fridge sometimes, if that makes sense. And that's what, in essence, what in many ways the private markets are all about. The public markets just take money. It's nothing else except the creme de la creme, Michelin 5-star food allowed within the public markets. Anyways, that's a joke. Moving right along. There's differing parts of the greater company, and we definitely have to transpose and try to sell to employees to be able to get them to do that, which is just speaking to being able to pre-sell and the making of any company using zero money, in essence, trying to hopefully be able to also actually cause action and actually be able to actually do this, as opposed to just talking about it. And that's the purpose of the podcast, as well as reporting the news. It's not just talking about what we want to do, but actually to cause ourselves to actually do things. Because sometimes you don't feel like doing things, but sometimes if you have a podcast and you have sometimes an audience maybe in the future that's hearing about it, that sometimes it will promote action and you will get more done on the back end of things. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, and one of the ways we want to do this is also by strengthening the continuous analysis of global energy flow, and trying to sort of recommend doing the same thing for other people, especially the listeners out there, to it's kind of like a flash on chain, like in the kind of like consistent analysis. Consistent analysis is extremely necessary and relevant, and is super being promoted because consistent analysis has to do with knowing about where the tunnels are, where the pipelines are, where the fun interesting energies are, where the frequencies are in the world, being able to analyze them, like figure out how the world is like an amusement park, finding the best rides to ride and the best ones, and by talking to other people, understanding, finding accredited investors, becoming an accredited investor, finding frequencies, energies that are assets, and sticking with those, having good net worths, and all those things transposing by and growing together. It's kind of like it's kind of like manufacturing hedge funds, actually. But studying the nature of hedge funds, in essence, is kind of like exactly what I'm talking about, because you can find different frequencies, different energies that speak to hedge funds, kind of, and you can make like a whole hedge fund out of it, because you can make collections of different businesses that are like that and fall into certain niches, and not just roll-ups and such things, but also, all these things that are able to, and roll-ups is like a part of the strategy as well, and our hopeful ambition as well, to have similar businesses that we can sell as a package, in essence, but you got to start small and then try to move up different aspects of the ladder and such things. But there's also slides, there's ladders, there's chutes, there's different items that you want to be able to acknowledge and understand that they're there to begin with, to be able to just make these things go and such things. And by being able to make hedge funds, having a hedge fund mindset, starting other hedge funds, they have strategies in place and people in place, and people to delegate and things to do, and existing energies, in essence, to be able to move those energies around by using hedge fund mindset to begin with, and structuring funds in that nature, and just studying the nature of fund structuring to begin with, because it's actually just energy structuring based around certain markets where there's opportunity is, and it's not necessarily that there's entourage, but if there's an open pool and such things and like nobody's swimming in it, then obviously it's kind of like, well, okay, then we can just go swimming because we don't have things to worry about, like someone peeing in it. Exactly. If that's, sort of a weird example, if you will, I don't know, if you will, if you don't, won't, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. We're just talking. It's just a chat. We're about to wrap this up though, because basically this is just like the cryptocurrency world, where like someone flashes a new chain, they make a new chain, a new cryptocurrency chain. It's a new pipeline of energy in essence, and that's what we're talking about here. It's just redirecting energy, repipelining energy, making repipes, new pipes, pipelines from demand to supply, new pipelines from demand to supply. You make the little stint. You just make that little stint. You connect the little thing and redo it, and then that energy flow shifts. And it's similar to cryptocurrency. New chains happening. That energy becomes new, a new vessel for energy to flow. And like hedge funds, it's energy flow structures. All right, thanks. Oh, that's I guess enough for now. Yeah, no, it is. Thanks. DINKY TehC. Bye.